Shopify grows with your business no matter how far or big you grow. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Shopify is there to help you grow. Whether you're selling your fans' next favorite shirt or an exclusive piece of podcast merch, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to grow your business no matter what stage you're in.
This is The Planted Runner. I'm Coach Claire Bartholic. I got an email the other day from a runner who wanted to start training for the marathon with me. She said, "I've got to be honest with you. I also want to lose weight." I thought carefully about my reply to her. The coach in me wanted to get into all the reasons why losing weight during marathon training isn't recommended. But the runner in me, I've been there and I get it. I used running to lose weight after my second child, and it worked. When I started getting good at the marathon, I assumed that every extra pound cost me time at the finish line. Spoiler alert, it didn't. So when runners come to me saying they want to lose weight too, whether it's because they want to look better, feel better, or run faster, it all resonates. But it's a lot more complicated than eat less, run more. Not to mention there is also a very big difference when you're trying to lose weight for your health versus when you're already at a healthy weight, but you want to lose that last 5 pounds to run faster. That's the concept of race weight, and it can be very, very damaging. But yet, it's still tempting runners every day. Let's get into it. Welcome to The Planted Runner. I'm Coach Claire Bartholic, and my mission is to help you improve your running, your mindset, and your life with science-backed training and plant-based nutrition. On today's show, I'll explore the nuanced and controversial subject of race weight and losing weight in general with running. We'll explore the science of race weight, how losing weight while training can backfire on physical and mental health, as well as performance, and I'll share my story and what really matters more than getting ultra lean. Don't forget to stay tuned all the way to the end of the episode for another Mental Strength Minute. Fortify your mind in 60 seconds or less. The relationship to your body weight and your running is complicated. Running can be very helpful if you have a lot of weight to lose and you combine it with smarter nutrition choices. And losing extra fat will make running easier since, unlike muscle, extra fat does nothing but slow you down. But where's the line? As runners, we love goals and data and science, so figuring out exactly what your body composition should look like to perform your very best is a tempting goal. There are charts and calculators out there that supposedly will tell you exactly what you should weigh to race your best. This is the concept of race weight. In theory, you will race your best when you're at your leanest, but not so lean that you don't have enough muscle to power your legs. Not surprisingly, the so-called ideal race weight for runners is often very, very thin. What is not talked about often is what your life will have to be like when you live to be lean. This is a topic that is very personal to me because I fell hard for the race weight myth when I was trying to break 3 hours in the marathon. I'll share my story with the hope that someone listening will take it to heart and stop obsessing about the scale. Let's begin, though, with the science of how your body size relates to running. If you were to strap on a heavy backpack and go for a run, it's not hard to imagine the extra weight slowing you down. The same thing happens with extra body weight. That could be in the form of fat, bone, or even a large amount of muscle. The more mass you need to move, the more energy and power you'll need to produce to move faster. But it's not just the heaviness of your body that matters. It's also about your size. Larger people are less efficient at delivering oxygen throughout the body. Losing weight won't change your lung capacity or function, but it does mean that each breath doesn't have to go as far. Larger runners are also at a disadvantage when it comes to cooling down as they run, which is a major factor in endurance performance. That's because they have a lower surface area to body weight ratio and more insulating fat tissue. It's also been shown that they may burn carbohydrates less efficiently. So yes, your weight absolutely matters when it comes to how fast you can possibly run. But so does your genetics, your form, your age, and your training. Weight is a part of the equation, but the thing to remember is the math is always changing, all the time. Even at the elite level, you'll find that many runners look different and have different body types. Thankfully, we're starting to see more muscular physiques in elite long-distance runners, and that could be a part of the reason that times are dropping. In the non-elite population, you'll see an even wider variation of body types on the starting line. It's easy to say that if you're not a professional athlete, don't worry about losing the last few pounds because it doesn't really matter. But as someone who trained just about as intensely as an elite despite not being a pro, that argument falls flat for me. Just because you're not paid to run, many runners want to reach their personal Olympics in running. We drink beetroot juice and eat our greens and do every little thing to shave off a few seconds per mile. If losing 5 pounds makes the difference between qualifying for Boston and staying home, many runners will make that sacrifice. I know I did. I'll tell you my story right after this. This September, join me and a small group of runners for an incredible running vacation here in Asheville, North Carolina. We're staying in deluxe riverfront cabins where we can run right out our doors. We'll feast on chef-catered plant-based meals, enjoy classes and coaching, and so much more. To learn all about the cool things we've got planned, go to theplanetrunner.com/retreat. Spaces are very limited, so sign up today. My favorite way to get all my stinky running clothes clean is with Earth Breeze. Earth Breeze Eco Sheet look just like a dryer sheet, but it's ultra concentrated laundry detergent. It eliminates stains and odors while being kind to the planet and your skin. No more ugly, heavy plastic laundry jugs filled with messy blue goo, which we all know is mostly water. Earth Breeze comes in a lightweight cardboard envelope that hardly takes up any space in your laundry room. And they offer flexible subscriptions delivered right to your door for free. If you decide to go back to your old stuff for some reason, you'll get a full refund on your Earth Breeze purchase, no questions asked. My clothes are clean, they smell fresh, and I never have to feel guilty dragging home the big orange jug from the store again. Right now, you can receive 40% off Earth Breeze just by going to earthbreeze.com/plantedrunner. That's earthbreeze.com/plantedrunner to cut out single-use plastic in your laundry room and the landfill. That's 40% off your subscription at earthbreeze.com/plantedrunner.
Greetings from Evergreen Podcasts. We're rolling out a listener survey and we want to hear from you. The information in the survey will help us gather statistics and in turn make our shows more appealing to advertisers. I know most people don't like ads, but this is one of the only ways our shows make money and help keep their lights on. We promise it will only take a few minutes, but the impact on our podcasts will be tremendous. As a token of our appreciation, we'll randomly select one lucky participant each month to win an exclusive merchandise package from Evergreen Podcasts. Head to evergreenpodcast.com/listenersurvey to help a show and possibly get some free stuff for doing so. We can't thank you enough for the support. Now back to the show.
This is The Planted Runner. I'm Coach Claire Bartholic. At one point in my marathon training, I got down to 15% body fat. Although I'd only lost 1 pound of weight in the year that I had had my body composition measured at my local university, I had dropped about 2.5% of body fat and put most of that back on as muscle. My body fat rating on the printout I was handed went from ultra lean one year, with fat levels often found in elite athletes, to risky for being too low the next year. I was still 5 pounds away at that point from being clinically underweight for my height, so I wasn't concerned that I was doing any harm. Instead, I was proud. I was happy that my hard training schedule and my diligent tracking of calories had worked to make me light and lean. I was convinced that now I could finally make the breakthrough in marathon racing because I was certifiably fit on paper and on the scale. I was wrong. It would take another 2 years to break 3 hours in the marathon and another 5 pounds gained, not lost, at least half of which was fat. So what happened? How did gaining weight make me faster? Well, part of my weight gain was muscle from strength training, which helped power my legs to run faster. Gaining muscle is extremely difficult to do when you're not eating enough. But the other part of it was that I was fueling my training better and training better in general. I had 2 more years of training under my belt, and because I trained while I was fully fueled, I could run faster on my speed days. I would love to say that I came to this incredibly smart conclusion about race weight simply from science or from learning about the dangers of underfueling from others. But no, the honest truth is I quit restricting my intake because it stopped working. And I'm glad it did before I did any real harm to my body or to my soul. In the beginning, I tracked every calorie in and every one out. I measured everything that I ate and entered it into a popular food tracking app to make sure that I was not only eating exactly what I needed and nothing extra, but also to make sure that my macronutrient profile was perfect for my activity level. And it worked. For each marathon, I was thinner, leaner, and faster than the last. After the race, I would take a couple weeks off and stop tracking my food to give myself a chance to recover and indulge a little bit. I'd gain a little weight, of course, but I knew I'd just do the same thing for my next training cycle and do it all over again with the same results. But something started to change. My body got wise to what I was doing and refused to play along with this nonsense. I could no longer drop weight as easily each cycle, so I did what every athlete does when faced with an obstacle. I doubled down and tried harder. Because I was light and fit, my body needed fewer calories to perform its functions. I was now so efficient at running that my body didn't need to work as hard as it used to run fast, and so the number of calories I was burning per mile went lower and lower. Not to mention that my body wanted to desperately hold on to every calorie it could because it knew it wasn't getting enough. I stopped losing weight, even though I was eating less and less and less. At one point, my cheerful tracking app told me that in order to lose a half a pound a week, I should be eating a dangerously low 1,200 calories a day. This was while running 75 to 90 miles a week. Thankfully, I still had enough fuel getting to my brain to know that this was a terrible idea. I was tired of weighing and measuring everything. I was tired of checking my app to see if I'd burned enough calories to have a glass of wine with my friends that night. And most of all, I didn't want my young, athletic daughter to see what I was doing and think she should be living like that too. So I took the app off my phone and gave myself some grace. I trained well and paid attention to what I ate, but I stopped monitoring every morsel. And I gained weight, not enough for anyone but me to notice or care, but it was at the same time freeing and unsettling. I was willing to do just about anything to reach my goal, and letting go of precisely controlling everything I ate filled me with doubt. But I gradually was able to let that go, thankfully, without developing a full-blown eating disorder. I knew that my training mattered more than an extra pound or two, and obsessing about my food was starting to make me feel anxious and unhappy. I just wanted to get the marathon over with so I could quit all this craziness and live again. I was lucky that I never suffered a stress fracture or another injury from underfueling, but it's important to note that you don't have to be ultra lean to experience severe damage from underfueling. Even heavier runners can fall into this trap. The first sign you're crossing the line into unhealthy territory is when your performance starts to suffer despite you being lighter. This will happen to both men and women. Premenopausal women have another canary in the coal mine, and that is our menstrual cycle. If you lose your period, your body is telling you that you are not healthy enough for more than the bare essential human functions. None of this happened to me, but what did happen is that I became tired and irritable, and of course, starving all the time. Pay attention to those signs as well. The challenge to this whole discussion is that there are some runners who truly want to lose some fat and gain some muscle to feel, look, and perform better. They are not anywhere near a dangerous weight and may in fact be on the higher end of a healthy weight. So how do you address this in a healthy way? The best solution is to look at your training in seasons. If you're a marathon runner, trying to lose weight in the 12 to 16 weeks ahead of your race is rarely a good idea if your goal is performance. You will train and recover better while fueled properly, meaning you're not in a caloric deficit and you shouldn't be losing weight. A better time to focus on your body composition is in between racing cycles. You might want to run less, lift more weights, and focus on more power training like plyometrics. Building strength and power is calorically expensive to do, which is why it can help change your body more than endless miles of slow running. And yes, you do have to pay attention to what you eat, but constantly tracking your intake can often lead to more issues than it solves. You know you're doing all right when you include whole fruits and veggies at every meal and aim for less processed foods, full of fiber such as whole grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes most of the time. It's also important not to follow this advice all the time. Treats are meant to be enjoyed as treats, not restricted until we get so frustrated that we just eat the whole pan of brownies after a hard day. There's no magic number when it comes to your fastest race weight, and if there were, it wouldn't matter because it would constantly change as you age, grow, build, and recover. The concept of race weight is really just a dangerous myth. Constantly cycling between restrictive eating, weight loss, overeating, and weight gain is just simply unsustainable long-term for the vast majority of runners. It can lead to eating disorders, injuries, and long-term health issues. Not to mention, you're probably not going to be any fun to be around. A better approach is the same philosophy that you should apply to your running in general: constant, small actions. Make small changes that you can do every day that consistently set you up for success with your training and your nutrition. This creates sustainable habits for life without all the neurotic and dangerous drama of trying to manipulate your weight for performance. I promise you'll feel better and you'll probably run better too. I wrote back to the runner who told me she wanted to lose weight while training for the marathon. I explained that I am not a weight loss coach, and my focus is to help teach runners how to fuel their running for performance. Of course, millions of people have lost weight with running, but it's better to take a long-term approach. It's best to focus on well-fueled performance when you're in a race training cycle and weight loss during the off-season. I figured she wouldn't like that answer, and I might never hear from her again. But you know what? She signed up to work with me for a year. And now it's time for the Mental Strength Minute. Fortify your mind in 60 seconds or less. Today's topic is quit with 1 rep left. On speed days, we want to do our best. After all, we've shown up to work hard. We have times we're trying to hit, and the harder we work, the faster we'll get. The only problem with that is that it's short-term thinking. What works far better than heroic efforts at the track are consistently good reps. At the end of a session, we don't want to feel like we gave it our all. We want to finish knowing that we could have done 1 more rep, but we chose not to. Because when we quit with just 1 rep left, we know we've worked hard without crossing the line. We're less fatigued the next day, and our overall training is far more sustainable and effective. Thank you for listening to The Planted Runner, part of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Don't forget that you can win free access to one of my sprint session masterclasses just for writing an Apple Podcast review. So be sure to write yours right after your run today. Reviews are the #1 way to boost this show's reach, and it's a great way to tell me what you'd like to hear next because I read every single one. Have a great run today.
Sports stars. They're like superheroes.
But they're actually real.
Which is why we've made a podcast about them. You see,
They've all got a story.
but too many of these stories were cut short.
Kobe Bryant,
Payne Stewart,
Flojo,
Phil Hughes.
Justin Fashanu,
We're writing episodes about all of them.
and sadly many more.
Death of a Sports Star, a new series from Crowd Network.